flagged cost pressures due to President Donald Trump's roller coaster tariff policies, which have thrown businesses into turmoil Wednesday morning after the discount chain said its second quarter profit could fall by as much as 50% from a year ago. Dollar Tree also said it would take an earnings hit this year from its sale of Family Dollar, which management announced back in March.
Every week, we throw good food and good money straight into the trash, and half the time, it's because of flimsy freezer bags that promise to lock in freshness and leak instead. What if the fix only costs $1 and change? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video.
One analyst told Reuters that Dollar Tree, while more profitable than Family Dollar, has fewer consumable items. Dollar General a day earlier raised its full-year targets thanks to increased demand from middle and higher income shoppers.
Dollar Tree is a strip mall in Florida where you bring your kids and they get to spend $5.
Today, we're digging into $7 Tree buys that don't just hold their own against name brands, they quietly outperform them. Let's start with the freezer bag that a mom of 3 says stopped her from crying over spilled spaghetti sauce. You'll want to see why price isn't the problem, false promises are. Ever notice how the bag that's supposed to save your leftovers ends up ruining them instead? You prep a week's worth of meals, seal them up, freeze them solid, and then by Thursday you find a red puddle creeping across the bottom of the freezer. That's not a bargain, it's sabotage in plastic form. Leaky bags turn dinner plans into cleanup duty, and the saddest part is that you paid extra for the privilege. When you open a box of name-brand freezer bags, you expect premium quality. The commercials promise industrial-strength seals and double locks so tight they can survive the apocalypse. But when labs actually tested these seals and tier lines, the results told a different story. Most fancy packaging cracked under simple pressure, and the failure wasn't subtle, it was immediate. Thin polymer seams give way once you fill the bag past halfway, and one tug on the zipper can split it faster than you can say, leftovers. The real cost isn't the few extra dollars for the box. It's the pasta sauce, soup, and time you lose when that seal doesn't hold. Here's the real-world test. Pour some pasta sauce or soup into one of those so-called durable bags. Seal it, freeze it overnight, then turn it upside down over the sink. On brand names, you'll often see a slow drip form right where the zipper meets the edge, a tiny gap that grows as the bag expands in the cold. It's enough to stain everything it touches. Then there's the Shorefresh bag from Dollar Tree, the $1.25 wild card no one expects much from. In that same test, it stays tight. Upside down, no leakage, no seepage, just a clean surface and frozen contents. That difference looks small, but when every leak ruins a meal's worth of food, it matters a lot.
Going to turn now to the popular chain of stores across the country breaking its $1 promise. Dollar Tree, they're now hiking prices.
Dollar stores became popular after World War II. This was your key to the kingdom. Whatever you needed to buy at a dollar store would cost. With inflation and supply chain issues and labor and freight costs, and how all those costs would be passed along to the consumer. Well,
Tammy, a mom of 3 who meal preps weekly, said these Shorefresh freezer bags don't leak and don't rip, and for her, that statement doubles as a relief. She keeps them lined up in her freezer by recipe and hasn't cried over spilled spaghetti sauce since switching. It's not glamour, it's reliability. When you're balancing kids, work, and a week's worth of meals, the last thing you want is a bag that quits halfway through the job. The interesting part is what separates these bags from their glossy counterparts. It's not an expensive ad campaign, and it's not color-coded zippers meant to look high-tech. The difference sits in the material itself. The plastic on Shorefresh bags has a thicker grade, less stretch, more structure, and the locking design actually clicks closed instead of sliding along half-sealed. It feels more mechanical, less decorative. You wouldn't notice it from the shelf, but in use, the closure locks with a sound that says, "You're safe." That click costs pennies to make, but it saves you from hours of freezer scrubbing.
Dollar Tree, which has tens of thousands of stores in North America, announcing it'll be raising prices on most of its items. Tree CEO telling the Wall Street Journal that this price hike is in part a response to those rising costs. On Wall Street, less kind reaction, people lamenting the negative impact that these price hikes will have on its core consumer base.
Now, most people assume that paying 3 times more buys you peace of mind. But here the pattern flips. You're paying for branding, not better storage. Several so-called premium bags fail the simplest tasks: holding liquids, sealing under temperature change, surviving a quick pull. Dollar Tree's quiet little Shorefresh manages all 3. That's the signal behind the noise. When small essentials prove themselves under pressure, high-priced packaging starts to look like performance theater. And here's the kicker: this isn't an isolated fluke. Once you start noticing which low-priced items hold up, bags, containers, cleaning tools, you realize the same rule keeps popping up. The simple, unbranded version often endures longer than the one with the shiny logo. Name brands charge extra to maintain the illusion of superiority, but in real-life trials, that illusion bursts faster than a discount balloon. So yes, this $1.25 box of bags ends up being a small insurance policy. Not just for your sauce but for your sanity. It's one less frustration quietly solved by a store most people underestimate. You buy it once, you stop wasting meals, and you stop doubting whether something cheap can actually deliver. That's a return on investment you can taste, or at least not wipe off your freezer shelf later. And if one humble pack of storage bags can outlast the big names, it begs a simple question: what other Dollar Tree staples are hiding in plain sight, doing the same job better while saving you more? Keep that in mind, because when you step past the cleaning aisle or the party section, the pattern repeats, function beating flash, every single time. Real value isn't stamped on a label or printed on glossy packaging. It shows up when something survives a messy kitchen, a heavy load, or a long week without giving out. When a $1.25 item performs every time, that's real worth, quiet, steady, and cheaper than the hype. So rethink what you call quality. Test one of these simple swaps this week and see how it holds up. The truth is, the smartest buy in your cart might not be branded at all. It's the one that lasts, keeps your space cleaner, and stays useful long after the slogan fades.